Welcome to Sunday Summary on Queer Public Radio. Sunday Summary is live every Sunday at 9 p.m. Eastern Time, 6 p.m. Pacific Time. That's minus 8 GMT for most of our worldwide listeners. The shows are recorded for podcasting at a later time. During this show, we will summarize the news reported on our most recent Hump Day Coffee Show and Gay Talk Live Talk Show. During this show, I will be joined by Kali, who will offer commentary and insight. Catch up on the news and speak your mind here on Queer Public Radio on the Sunday Summary Show every Sunday at 9 p.m. Eastern Time, 6 p.m. Pacific Time. On with the show.
Wow, I feel good.
Yeah, I feel good, baby. Hope you're feeling good, too. This is Tom on Queer Public Radio on our very first premiere edition of the Sunday Summary. Yeah, we got Kale with us from Hawaii. He's just going to fill us full of all kinds of little tidbits of just priceless information, I'm sure. Kale, hey!
Aloha! Good afternoon, Tom.
Good sort of afternoon, early evening. How are you?
I'm doing all right. I'm so excited about our premiere show here.
I am, too. I am. Woo! I mean, I don't know which way to... which way's up, which way's down, which way's around. I don't know.
Well, you don't know that on a regular basis.
How
rude. No, that's nothing new.
How extremely rude.
Oh, boy.
It's Sunday. It's crazy Sunday. Or as they say on Twitter, SSS, same sex Sunday. Yeah, this is, of course, it's an open forum show. Anyone's welcome to call in and talk about whatever they want to. And in the meantime, that's what we'll do is we'll just go through the news until someone calls in and talks to us. Yeah.
And I'd like to point out to our listeners that we are a gay-positive website. Please keep your comments to that regard. Thank you.
Well, that was so professional sounding.
I try.
Oh, goodness gracious. So you're listening to the Sunday Summary Show. This is the premiere edition, our very first Sunday Summary Show.
Yay!
Yes. Yes, should we? Yes. Oh, we should. Yes, we should. One moment, please. I wasn't ready for that. Oh, thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Can't you just see those condom balloons falling from the ceiling?
Oh, my. What a waste of good condoms.
Well, gotta celebrate our premiere somehow.
Of course, I'm assuming they're not used.
I hope not. Oh, my.
Anyway, this Wednesday on our Hump Day Coffee Show, which airs every Wednesday at noon Eastern Time, 9 a.m. Pacific Time, we're going to be talking with Chloe Michelle Noble. Back in 2009, Chloe, with a friend of hers, traveled across America living as a homeless person, meeting homeless people, talking to homeless people, and after that, she created a nonprofit organization called Operation Shine America. Of course, that makes her the founding director of Operation Shine America, and it's all about helping the homeless. Of course, we all have to remember that 40% of the homeless youth, that's homeless people 25 and under, 40% of them are part of our LGBT community. And I didn't even know this fact, but I from watching Chloe's video, heard her say that 13 homeless people die in the United States every day, and that there's 1.6 million homeless people in the United States. We're also going to be joined by her national spokesperson, Ali Nugent. So we look forward to that show Wednesday. I think it's going to be one not to be missed. I'm hoping that she'll share with us lots of little things that happened during that. She's going to be with us for the entire 2 hours on Wednesday, and I'm sure she's going to tell us a lot about those experiences she had in 2009 when she went across the nation. Yeah, I think that's pretty cool. I also have to mention a Twitter friend, Jay Wetler. That's the letter J, Wetler, W-E-T-L-O-R. And so he's on Twitter, and he's evidently over in the UK. And he retweeted one of our shows, and I sent him a thank you. But not only did he retweet one of our shows, but he also put on there, on the end, a little chant. It's a "We are QPR." Say, "We are QPR. We are QPR." And I was like, well, that's cute. Thanks for the chant, I told him. And he said, oh, there's 20,000 men over here in the UK that say that every day. And I think it might be related to, they have a football league over there that uses the initials QPR. It's not a gay football league. I've actually got some flack from them on Twitter for using QPR. But anyway, so whatever. I'll steal their chant and their freaking name. Sorry, I almost said a bad word. This is terrible. I'm doing a night show. I'm just not myself. In the mornings, I'm kind of half asleep still. So, you know, this is bizarre. Oh, goodness. What's going on here? Looks like I got a message coming in on Skype here. Someone just sent me a congratulations message, and I'm not sure why. But thank you. Thank you for that congratulations message. Thank you.
Hey, well, maybe they were congratulating us on our premiere edition of the Sunday Summary Show on Queer Public Radio.
Maybe so. Maybe so. I mean, people are probably freaking out, you know. What? Queer Public Radio's got a nighttime show? Cool.
A live show, no less.
Yeah, a live show that you can call in and participate in. Let's see. So I'm going to skip the non-gay news. I'm going to skip the comments. And, oh, hold on. I got another comment. That's what it is. Yes, the person on Skype is telling me that they're glad they're home to catch the first Sunday show live. Aww.
Well, thank you. That's so sweet of you.
Yes, that's very nice of you. How nice. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. And you're welcome to call in and talk with us if you want. You're on Skype. You can just buzz right on in. Give me a call. We'll put you on the air. Got something you want to say. So I guess what we'll do is we'll just run right over to the gayblogheadlines.com stuff and go through the hand-picked articles from the top to the bottom. And we're basically going to cover the last two broadcasts of those. If we have more room at the end, then I'll get into some of the comments and non-gay news if we need to fill time. In other words, I don't want to run out of time again and not get to everything. We ran out of time yesterday. That's quite a few I didn't get to. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to start on gayblogheadlines.com, the hand-picked articles. Yeah. That's where you need to go if you missed anything, or you think I didn't get enough of the information out there. Yeah, that's what that's for. It's all right there, and you can just click and go read about it yourself. What do we got here? What's the first one? Oh, the first article is Grace Jones. What? How'd it go? Something like that.
Catwoman herself. Yes.
If you happen to be in Australia, anywhere around Sydney or Melbourne, she's going to be doing her concert. She's going to travel through there to actually giving away free tickets. Yeah. Free tickets to meet Grace Jones. Personally, like real personal. I'm like thinking that's way cool. You know, the show just before this one was Jimmy James, that we had him on back in December. and he actually met Grace Jones. And on that show, the Best of Gay Talk Radio with Jimmy James that we had air previous to this show, was him speaking about meeting Grace Jones. And I forget what his comment was because I didn't actually listen to that show. So I was busy doing other stuff over here. I didn't have time to listen. But yeah, he said she's an awesome, awesome lady. And he kind of, I do remember he kind of mentioned that she likes to drink. So, and evidently she's not supposed to drink too much because she can get unruly or something from the way he kind of made it sound, So, oh, we have the Skype.
Uh-oh.
We have the Skype
Uh-oh.
caller calling in. Hold on just a second. Let me add him to the call. Hey, welcome.
Let me figure out how to stop you guys on the site so I can talk to you live.
Yes, we got you on here.
Hi, Tom.
Aloha.
Hey, how are you?
Oh, doing okay.
My name is Jay. I am a gay veteran of the United States Air Force. I am the junior vice commander for the city of Long Beach, California. And I'm glad to be on your show because of the fact of the matter, as far as I know, I'm the only gay one that's out across country in the DAV that I've met so far. But I am just glad to have a moment to talk to you guys because when I've been listening to you guys for a couple of months now, and I'm very encouraged by what I'm hearing, and I'm just glad to know you're there because we're voices few and far between.
Oh, well, thank you. Thank you so very much. That's very kind of you to say and to take the time to call in. We always love it when people call in, and because that's what it's all about. It's supposed to be like a community megaphone, So we're glad you called.
And I would like to say thank you for your service to our nation because, it's folks like you that keep us moving in the right direction and keep us free and protect our borders and our nation and all of that. And we definitely support you 100% in all of your endeavors.
Well, I thank you. I mean, I just feel like I'm just a reflection of our community. I look at the fact that, as a gay individual, people across the country don't realize that often gay people are the ones that often volunteer to take care of their own family. I mean, in my case, I'm still fighting with a brother who stole my mother's mail because he says faggots have no rights. I haven't been able to see my mother in about 4 years.
Oh, no.
So when I tell you about standing up for rights, I have been doing it for quite some time. I'm a child of the 60s. My mom and dad took me to the Civil Rights March on Washington in 1963, the I Have a Dream speech. I got to see Martin Luther King 3 days before he was shot around the corner from my house. God has been good to me because I've actually been able to live a little bit of history. But then at the same time, as I've grown older, and I'm like just a few days younger than our president. But the thing about it is, as I've grown older, I found it a little bit harder just to be me, and I'm out. So but it's just, it's a struggle. It's a day-to-day process. And so it's an educational journey. And we have to kind of enjoy it. And one of the things that I'm really glad of is that I found you guys on the radio. Because, the other morning I signed up for Skype, and I heard you hear me sign up for Skype, Tom. And I was very glad to hear that you saw me sign up for Skype. But then the day got busy, and I wasn't able to hear the program. And tonight I was like, when I got your email, I was like, I'm going to listen, finally. So I'm just glad I'm, tickled pink, for lack of a better word.
Well, wow, what a story you have. Whoa.
Wow. We could do a whole show on him, huh?
Well, you know what? What I hope is that over time we'll get to be good friends, and I'll tell you a little bit more along the way. I don't want to call in and be the first person to put everything out there and da 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 da, because it's not really about me. I don't want it to necessarily be about me, but I want to make it better for our community overall. Because if I just stand against the oppression that I'm facing right now, which I'm doing, and it's very, very difficult, but I'm doing it because you get guys like you that give me the courage to do it. I mean, you guys don't hear often the things that you guys are saying on the radio for the past couple of months. And that just gives me the steel to stand up and be a little bit more informative, a little bit more direct, um, and to know that I'm actually doing something that affects the rest of the community. So it's kind of like don't ask, don't tell works in numerous ways, because when people see me, they normally don't assume, number one, I'm gay. But the fact of the matter is, I am. The other side of the coin is that everybody thinks that I want to jump in bed with them too, and that's not always the case. It's like because you're gay, you have to be, promiscuous. It's not to say that we don't all have our fantasies of men that we'd like to do, but I mean, it's for me, it's not every man. You know, I mean, that's just how it is. But folks don't understand that all the time.
Yeah, which is
Well,
pretty amazing.
we like to end our show each and every show by telling our listeners that we are all one human family, and we firmly believe that, and you are part of our family now, and we are so welcoming you, and we hope that you will continue in your struggle and in your life's journey to come out and be out and to continue to do all the awesome things that you are doing.
Well, the thing about it is, one thing is that once you're out, you can't go back into the closet. It doesn't fit anymore. It's like you evolve into who you are. I don't apologize. I stopped apologizing a long time ago. I had a 14-year relationship that lasted that long. And it was like in that time period, I came across situations where I had the opportunity to cheat. I didn't. I lost a job behind it because I wouldn't kiss another man. It wasn't that I wasn't attracted to him, but I had a commitment within my heart to the man that I loved. So I always wanted to be true. But to this day, sometimes I lament the fact that I didn't give this man a kiss, because soon after I found notes in my personnel file, like no common sense, things like that, because I just stood up and refused to kiss someone. But he was married with 5 kids. What chance did I have with a married guy with 5 kids? And when you think about it in that way, because I mean, I always thought about it from the standpoint, um, I like having my own lover. If I ever have another lover at some point, maybe we'll see. But if I ever have another lover, I think that I'd like to have the same commitment that everybody else has. The chance to have experience what it feels like to be a family, to be a whole person, and not be denied. We have to try to move forward as a community. And how do we do that? By loving one another, by supporting one another, and being of good cheer to one another. Because believe me, the laughter that I hear coming from you guys sometimes really helps me, because at times there's times where it's really painful when you're a mama's boy and you can't talk to your mother. I hate to say that as a 50-year-old man, but that was my best friend. And so for me, it really does hurt. But then when I hear my friends like Tom on the radio and giving encouragement, it's just, it's so heartfelt healing, because it helps me to heal, to deal with the issues that I have to face. So, you know, like I said, it's not about me, it's about the community. And I'm just glad that I'm a part of the family. I'm glad to be your first veteran as well. And I hope that on my end, that if I can continue to fight the daily battles that I'm doing, that some success will come, because I believe that when we stand in truth, no matter what happens. Truth is always truth. It never changes. So that's the only thing that gives me courage, because lies change from time to time. Truth doesn't. And so my whole thing is, be honest to yourself. I love the fact that I'm a guy who loves men. I like women, but that doesn't mean I love them. I've had more close relationships with men than I have with women. Not to say that I haven't had relationships with women. I've been very close to being married, but the thing about it was that I had to weigh out what it was that I wanted, and I actually felt better with guys. So for me, it's something that has always been, not a hit or miss thing, but I always get the women that want to think that they can convert me back, and it's like, there's no conversion. It's nothing that you can convert. I realize if I were to have a relationship with a woman, it would be for procreation, maybe, but not from the standpoint of a marital commitment. That's not my. That's not how I see my life. Because I see my life, if it's going to be with another human being, it's with a man in full partnership. Just have to stay, encouraged, and I do that by listening to guys like Tom and, other progressives that help me to remember, this is why we're doing this. As a 50-year-old, I've been on the battlefield, if I included the time with the I Have a Dream speech, just about all my life. And before I leave this earth, which I don't intend to anytime soon, I want to make sure that it's a better place than when I found it. As a Kennedy baby, as a child that was born to the president of Kennedy, and the speech that he gave, what can you do for your country? Well, I'll tell you what I'm doing for my country. I'm changing it so that the future generations won't have to fight the fight that I fight today. That's what I'm doing. So I am just glad that I've got new friends now on the radio to listen to twice a week, and I'm a part of the first show. So it sounds like history to me, guys.
I think we're making history together, and I think that's an awesome thing. And I think you affirmed so many things there. Well, number one, you have brightened my day to no end because you've affirmed the fact that what we do here has purpose. And of course, I already knew this, but it's always nice to get affirmation. So I have to thank you so much for that.
I want to second that emotion and just let you know that it is awesome that you feel brave enough to take the time to call in on a live to air program and give us your story. I think that shows a lot of bravery and a lot of moxie. And it's important that the rest of our listeners know that they also can do this, and you too can be on the show.
I want to put it out there for my veteran friends too, because I mean, when I was in the service, we had to hide, and now it's just a different day. If I had to do it all over again, I'd go in again. I mean, because the fact of the matter is that there are some good people that answer that call to service. And one of them that encouraged me in my life is my great uncle, my grandfather's baby brother. My Uncle Lacey was the first gay man I ever met. And for the first gay man that I ever met, he was the first veteran that I ever met and had a direct impact on me going into the Air Force. So, for them to say that we were not there, I hate to disagree, because I've got a great Uncle Lacey that served in World War II that was there, So, and he, like I said, he was a big influence that made me want to answer the call to defend liberty. That was just something that I felt that I had to do for me personally, because I knew that the price of citizenship within this country had to be paid for by somebody. That made sense to me as a kid. I always believed that liberty and justice would be for all people, and that's why I serve, so that people like you and I would not have to have these fights always, that we would have full partnership in the American dream where we could have our families. We could proudly live on any street in America that we choose without fear of discrimination or harassment. I know we still have a long way to go, but the thing about it is that we're making progress. We're making progress, and I'm so glad. I'm not completely happy with Barack Obama, but I'm so glad that he's more friendly towards us than hurtful, because Lord knows the last 8 years before him, we didn't have a friend at 1600.
That's for
So
sure.
I'm, just thankful today because of the many blessings that we're able to talk about and share, here in this forum, because we have to keep each other encouraged. Because oftentimes it's a lonely walk before you find someone that gives you the courage to say, well, gee, it's not so lonely because, there's Tom. And my other friend, I don't know your name, so I can't address you directly.
My
The
name is Kali.
Khalid, well, there's
Yes.
Khalid too, because I've heard you as well on the broadcast. So what I'm saying is that you guys have to be commended for what you do too, because in a way you're veterans. You're veterans too. You're answering it in a different call, from the standpoint that you're doing it from the community standpoint, but you don't know the difference that you do make in the lives of anyone that's within earshot of you. And so that's why I'm just glad that I can share all of this with you.
Well,
Well,
I want to say thank you very much for that because that does my heart really good. It's helpful to know that we are reaching somebody out there, even if it's just one person at a time. That's all we really need to do. So we really really appreciate your call and thank you so much for your kind comments.
All right. Talk to you guys
awesome.
soon.
Yeah,
Have a good one.
you don't got to run off if you don't want to. Right? Oh, there he goes.
Oh well, I wasn't trying to kick him off or anything.
How rude of you.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, because he touched on so many things and so many good, positive things. And, I wasn't sure on his name there. I wanted to ask him. I didn't get a chance. Did he say Jay or Dave or what?
It sounded to me like you said Jay.
Okay. All right. All right. I wasn't sure. I didn't get a chance to. I would have loved to talk to him some more. I hope he didn't run off because of us.
Right, right.
Oh, goodness, that was great. But let me tell this little story here. I got to tell this little story uh, because it relates so much. And it's a starfish story that was told to me many years ago. And I think it's one that needs to be carried on. And it tells it's just the moral behind the story here. You'll get it. Now, the little young boy was walking down the beach, and there was this terrible, terrible storm on the ocean the night before. And this little boy came upon all these starfish that were up on the shore, just thousands of them. And as quick as he could, he started grabbing the starfish and throwing them back in the water. And along came this elderly gentleman, and he looked at this kid going crazy in a frenzy there, throwing the starfish back in, and he said, "There's too many of them. You're not going to make a difference." And the kid looked at that man, and he grabbed up starfish and threw it in the water, and he said, "Well, I made a difference to that one." And the moral of the story is, if you can help one at a time, you're doing great things. And that's just a story I like to share. I've shared that quite often on the air, and I think that's the point that we're trying to make here, is that, just imagine if it would have been a whole class of kids on that beach throwing them back, what the impact they would have had. So us as a community working together can have an enormous impact. We've all seen what's happened in the last few years, as Jay, I hope I got the name right, mentioned, with Obama in office. And I mentioned previously on the most recent show that I definitely didn't expect us to see the advancements towards our community that we have seen. So I think it's pretty awesome what's happening, and I feel honored. I feel honored that we had anything to do with anyone, being able to be true to themselves. I think that's an awesome thing because that's all you can be. And if you're trying to be anything else, then you're cheating yourself and everyone that comes in contact with you. It's so important. It's so important, that we all just try to do everything we can because it's with the more of us that are out there. Like Harvey Milk said, everybody needs to come out of the closet. If everyone came out of the closet, we wouldn't have half the problems we have today.
And I just would like to preface the fact that I think it's pretty awesome that a former veteran is brave enough to come out in a very, very public way and let us know what the things that he has been doing to support his community. And I think it's an awesome thing to come out and to feel like you are serving your community, even if it is one person at a time. That's all we can do. That's all we can do is work together and treat each other like the human family we are.
Yeah, even though he runs people off the show when they call in.
I did not run him off the show. I was just barely saying thank you.
Oh, you back, Jay?
Yeah, I am.
Okay.
Sorry about that.
No problem.
I didn't mean to run off on you, but I for a second there I was like, well, now I need to kind of let them talk because I don't want to, I don't want to just be all over the place. I put a lot out there, but like I said, it's not about me. I want to help the community if I can. As a veteran, I'm here and be a part of the show.
Did we get your name right? Is it Jay?
Yes,
okay.
Jay.
All right. Wanted to make sure.
We should be able to say who we are with clarity and not have to be disrespected for it.
Amen. That's so important because it's the whole thing. You've probably heard me say over and over, that we're kind of like the pariah of society, and that's why they treat us that way. And it's just like you were saying about, them thinking just because you're gay that you want to sleep with every man, as if every straight man wants to sleep with every woman. They got this double standard thing going on, and it always boils down to sex. There's some kind of problem in this country with sex, and I like the way Calais puts it. He tells that it's that Puritan influence,
Well, like I've always said, our country is very puritanical, and I had liked the comment that you had said about England giving us all their trash, So, but it is very true that we are very puritanical in this country. I mean, when we can't even have condom commercials on primetime television, that says a lot about how far we still need to go as a human family. Gay, bi, straight, doesn't really matter. As a human family, we still have a long way to go.
Yes, we do. I wholeheartedly agree. I was listening to a minister tell me how gay marriage was causing teen pregnancy. And I was like, huh?
Yeah, really.
Really?
Like,
that's very interesting.
Wait a minute. Last time I checked, if we have two gay teens, no matter how hard they try, they're not going to be having babies. He was like, well, that's the problem. We have to have all this permissiveness. And I was like, no. If you tell people, I think if you really tell people what self-respect is about, they would stop a lot of the bashing of who people are. Because number one, self-respect begins with self-love. And if you can't love yourself, how can you love somebody else?
There, yep, exactly.
And I would just preface, how can you expect anyone else to love you back?
I agree with you, and I'll go one step further. Reverend Carl Bean, picture it, 1992, July 4th weekend. There I was, sitting in central LA. I was in corporate America working for a major 500 corporation and having issues with my sexuality in my mid 30s. In the process, that I heard this minister say to me that if I did not stand up and say something about it, then I'm just as bad as the person that's persecuting me because I'm allowing it.
Mm-hmm.
When I thought about it, the prospect daunted me back then to go back and face it. But when I brought it up and had to actually face it, I actually became empowered. No longer was the fear there. In fact, the fear transferred from me back to the person who was trying to put it on me. The intimidation tried to get a little bit worse, but the thing was, I withstood it and fought back. It ended up taking me about 7 years to get to the bottom of it, but I did get to the bottom of it. And at the end of the 7 years, rather than to keep fighting because it was going to go on and on and on, I proved my point, but we came to a settlement. The thing about it is that it's not always about money, but it's about how you let people treat you. You must always keep in mind, if you don't stand up for you, nobody else will. You cannot be reliant on the man next to you. That's what I've always been taught as somebody that went into the military. Although you do have to look out for your fellow Americans and different things like that. You just have to realize that if you don't, who else will?
Mm-hmm.
You know, each one has to teach one. And that's what I try to make a daily effort in my daily life to do. And it's sometimes hard. It's sometimes hard because, not only did I give my time and my youth to this country, but I also gave a part of my health. Just to be who you are sometimes takes a little guts in this country.
Yeah.
But the thing is that I do it, like I said, so that when I do, not that I'm closing my eyes tomorrow, but when I do leave this earth, that the younger generation won't have the same fights that I have today.
And that's the old, for eons and eons, even people have been saying, well, I want to, parents, obviously coming from them, but it's the same thing for the rest of us, that, they want to make it better for the kids. They want to make it better for the kids. And that's all we hear about is the children and the children and the children, over and over. We have it thrown in our face, and being a part of the LGBT community. But I think that we, even as not as parents, but as responsible adults, we need to try to make the world a better place. We need to strive for that. And I think sometimes we need to forget the fact that we're an individual and remember that we're part of a bigger, larger community. And we represent that community. And like you said, by not, saying anything, by not standing up for who we are, we're actually not only letting down ourselves, but our entire community.
Yeah, it's true. It's very true. You know, I I'm in a small parish in Long Beach, and within my parish, I can't tell you the teens because I'm Roman Catholic, so I can't tell you the teens that I'm actually teaching the faith to, that come to me with questions on sexuality. And it's very interesting because the families want to sometimes cast the children out, and I have to be the one that I speak up and I let them know, how do you throw away God's child? This was a gift given to you. Life. Now, these are supposed to be so big pro-life people. This is life. This is life. This is God's child. That doesn't mean you get to mistreat them because you don't like the fact that they love someone of the same sex. You know, sometimes I tell them that the biggest challenge that we have is accepting things in life that we wouldn't normally accept. Be true to who you are, because whether you're gay or straight, God loves you. But more than that, if you are gay, welcome to the club. You know?
Yeah.
Well, and I just want to, point out the fact that we do have to continue to fight as our generation continues to move forward. We have to remember there are still a lot of places in this country that young teens are committing suicide because they can't deal with the fact that they're gay or that they're being bullied because they are gay. And I understand, that we always talk about for the children and all of that sort of thing as a nation. However, I kind of believe in that just because, there are gay teens out there, there are gay young people out there that need our attention, that need our help, that need to know that it's okay to come out of the closet.
I strongly encourage it. I not as well because I take people, even Christians, evangelical, that like to tell me that Jesus never spoke of homosexuality, and I take them to Matthew chapter 19, verses 11 through 20, where he speaks of the eunuchs. Jesus speaks of eunuchs that are made eunuchs by men. In that, I believe that Jesus was dealing with homosexuality. So the fact of the matter is that when we get to the other scriptures that start holding us back, we get into the Paulinian theory, who puts us back into the mold of the Old Testament. If we look at Paul's life, I think that Paul struggled with homosexuality in and of itself. And to show that same-sex love is possible, when we look at the love affair between Jonathan and David, the very fact that Jonathan invited David into his home and then stripped down and gave David everything, including his sword, sounds very sexual to me. Now, the Bible says in the Old Testament that it's a brotherly love, but the Bible also says that he would not let David leave his home. Beyond that, when Jonathan dies, David says of Jonathan that Jonathan's love surpassed that of women. So the bottom line is that like I said before, I'm not one to think that God is so limited that he can't create same-sex love. And the very fact of the matter is that when we look at it, we have to understand, as long as we're in the flesh, human beings are going to come out loving human beings for human beings. Human love, the choice of the individuals, two consenting adults, as long as they are not hurting each other, not causing a problem with one another, and they're good for one another, then fine. I have nothing to say about that. But when people tell me that my choice of loving someone else of the same sex affects their marriage, I don't get it, because I don't date married men. I have strict rules about that. If you're married, you're off my dating list. I don't care, because I know that I would not like to have that done to me. I have a set of morals that I have to go by. I believe, like watching other civil rights advocates, those that I consider successful, like one of whom is Dr. Maya Angelou.
Oh, I love her.
And she taught me several things. Number one, when people tell you who they really are, shut up and listen to them. That's number one. Number two is that when you're dealing with truth, it's absolute no matter when it is. One of my favorite sayings of the quotation that she says is that truth is often putting its shoes on while a lie has been around the world and leaving out the door. When truth is leaving out the door in the morning, putting its shoes on, a lie has been around the world before truth even starts. So truth can appear to be subjective, but the thing that I love is that when you're true to yourself, usually good things come of it. And that to me has been the biggest plus out of living life, out of my 50 years. I have not lied about the fact of the matter that I like. I've been in love with guys and different things like that. And they've been some pretty intense relationships. Not to say that I when I was younger that I didn't date women, but the thing was that the two failed to compare. I didn't find what sexual love was for me until I met really the first guys that I began to sleep with. So, and then I was like, oh, yeah, this is definitely for me. A friend has said to me, a straight friend said to me about a year and a half ago, you can't plug a lamppost into another lamp and find love. And I was like, I don't know what you've been turned on to, but I know I have. I enjoy my friends. I enjoy going out and different things like that. And some people like the club scene for picking up and different things like that. But that's not, I like a date. I like movie dinner, the old fashioned type of things, one on one type of things. So it's a little bit different for me.
I wanted to back up here just a second because you mentioned Matthew and Jesus and the eunuch statements. Isn't that the same place where he also said that some eunuchs come out of the mother's womb that way?
Yes.
Okay, all right.
And that I think that when he spoke of the eunuchs, that he was speaking of the lesbian and gays as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because I, I'm not a believer that Jesus excluded us. Um, in that he hung out with all segments of the population. So the thing is that for him to speak in that manner and then say that not all men are given to marriage, and then to enumerate numerous reasons why they would not be all given to marriage, I think that it includes a whole segment of our population.
Yeah. There's also a point in the I think it's in the book of Revelations where they talk about the 144,000 that have never known women. That these are the chosen people, who will like be first in line.
Well, they even in the church, if we look at saints, the ancient saints of the Catholic Church, there's Sergius and Bacchus, and of them, it is said that their relationship was so intensely spiritual that when Sergius was killed during torturing because of his belief in Jesus, that when Bacchus was when Bacchus was killed, Sergius had a vision of Bacchus telling him to endure, that when he got to the other side, he would be waiting. And to this day, there are towns in Italy that still celebrate the feast day of St. Sergius and St. Bacchus. So you can't say that gay relationships don't stand the test of time, because I do believe that they do.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we all kind of have different beliefs. We have all different ethos systems. I get that. But that doesn't stop the ethos from saying that the spirit's not universal. The God that they kind of claim that condemns us is not universal and does not love us too. Because if that were true, what happens to the folks that eat shrimp? What
Yeah.
happens to the folks that wear mixed polyester together?
Mm-hmm.
Because that's an abomination too.
Right.
So the end result of it is that if we want to pick up one of the rules, this is how I look at it. You want to pick up one, you got to pick up all 267 of them. Otherwise, it just doesn't work. And I for one, say it's too tiring to deal with 267. Let's just get on with the work of love. Can we do that?
There you go.
Well, my whole thought on all of this is that I'm about as far away from a religious person as there is. I believe that we all need to treat each other with the respect that we would want them to treat us with, and just so, to me, organized religion, and I don't want to get into a whole argument over it, but to me, organized religion is very hypocritical because they like to cherry pick the Bible to use parts of the Bible to suit their needs at any particular moment. And I think that's wrong. If you're going to go by the Bible, you go by the whole Bible, not just what you think is an okay thing for that particular day. A lot of religions have pretty much shun the gay community, and I think that's a bad thing because, as we always say, we're all in this together, we're all in the same boat, we're all one human family, and it's time we start acting like it.
Well, I believe that number one, love is the most universal thing that we all can share among one another. And I'm not talking about the physical love. I'm talking about just enjoying one another as human beings. Because if we get down to that basic, we all have basic needs. We all basically, as human beings, have basic needs. And number one, we should try to be friends with one another. That's that's number one. If we can be friends and be accepting of ourselves as friends, then we can proceed to grow. So I agree with you that organized religion, although it offers a vague outline of how to go, that's something that even as I teach within my community, I try to always give an open mind because, see, there are things that I might not like. If I had offspring, would I like to see my children go through what I've gone through? No. So that's how I try to think about it because it could always be that the shoe is on the other foot. And people don't realize that until they get in it. And then when they get in it, and they're like, I wish somebody would have told me. I wish somebody would have told me. But that's what is so important, that's so universal about the message that comes from our community that, we have to teach each other acceptance of who we are. Just be yourself. If you be yourself in truth, in honesty, you can share in love because there's no fear in love.
All men are created equal. I mean, that's
Well,
the
Tom, they say some of us are a little light in the loafer. That's what they like to tell you. you know, but I will tell you, I will definitely tell you that we are created equal. And that's the point where we can stop putting people in boxes and what they're supposed to be like. That you're supposed to get married, Tom, and have 2.5 kids. You know, Instead of having it dictated to us, why not just allow us to be ourselves? You know what? The thing is like I told you, I have in my class in this last year children who have siblings that are coming out. And my encouragement, their mother one was telling me in one of the writings about the fact that the mother was doing the abomination. So I sent them back with the scripture that I just shared with you. And I said, well, and then the mother said, well, Jesus never said anything like that. And I said, well, I said, let me give you a clue, ma'am, because I ended up getting a chance to speak to the mother after I wrote the comment. I said, let me give you a clue, ma'am. I said, well, Jesus said that he came so that he would not lose any that were given to him. Any. He didn't say some. He didn't say a few. He said any. So when I pointed this out to the mother, it was all of a sudden, it was like a light bulb went off in her head. And she finally got it.
I think, even the people that are quote unquote light and the loafers, every single person has a gift. And I think that's what we should be focusing on is bringing out their gift, bringing out to let them shine, to let them be proud, to let them experience and fully experience the gift that they were given because every single person has a gift.
Love is contagious. You
Mm-hmm.
can sit there and act like it doesn't affect you, but once it affects you, child, you're changed for life. Because the end result of it is that love gets across where hatred would never dare to go. So you have to get into it. You got to get comfortable within yourself, and once you find that comfort, then you can do for others. But oftentimes it starts that we've got to encourage those that are in Des Moines or Rantoul, Illinois, or Intercourse, Pennsylvania, even. The bottom line, the bottom line is that no matter where you are, we just have to get to the point we can get people into being themselves, and that's not always the easiest. It's hard when you think that the world's against you, because you have to kind of you accept yourself. When I was a little boy, I thought it was very strange that I had sexual desires for Joe Namath. I found it very strange that I had, that I had these feelings where I couldn't wait to see him naked. It was like, but I didn't act on it until I was much older. But the thing about it was that I thought it was, little boys were not supposed to like that. You were supposed to like being a ladies' man. My father, who was a player, used to say to me all the time, "Boy, you don't have none of me in you," and I was like, "I'm so glad." because of the fact of the matter that, my father didn't think anything of what sleeping with women. He really didn't. He was quite a ladies' man. But the fact of the matter was that for me, I always felt that love was something special. I was like the little girl that grew up with the romantic idea one day I'd get married, one day my prince would come. And, I would always secretly hid within my heart that that's what would be for me. Not that I found him or, I've stopped looking, and now that I stopped looking, he seems to be more on the horizon than I care to admit. But the bottom line is that, the fact is that it's always been a guy for me. And that upsets people when you tell them that you want a guy. And especially women. Oh, I've had women really get upset with me and say that, oh, you just haven't had the right woman. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, honey, if I had the right woman, yes, the equipment would function, but do you think it would put out the fire for the same equipment that I have? I don't think so. Mm-hmm. And it, when you come down to, for me, it came down to the point. I could get married and have affairs on the side, but I'd have to constantly lie to somebody else. Well, first of all, I wouldn't want to be lied to, so I'm not going to pass that on. So I just couldn't do it myself. So for me, like I said, for the lady that told me, you can't plug two lamps into one another and get electricity, I beg to differ with her.
Yeah, it's obviously they never tried. So that's the interesting part. They're experts on it, but they've never been there.
Well, Tom, the part that gets me is the same woman that's telling me anti-abortion and different things, and then you talk to her about universal health care, and she's like, "Get your own health care."
Yeah.
Well, you're going to invite the life here, and then all of a sudden you got to put the life to work already. Get your own health care.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the thing about it is, I'm totally for health care. What brought me to California was that I had a cousin that had HIV. And in 1992, he was living in LA. I came out. I ended up meeting him. I'd known of him for many years. You hear family members in your family. You don't meet them until you're grown and different things like that. He was from a part of my family from Chicago. We ended up meeting each other. He was gay. And in fact, when I came out to meet him, and when we were about to do the wild thing, and then funny how the conversation about family came up, and we never did do the wild thing because we figured out we were cousins before we actually got together. But the end result of it is that it was him that brought me out here, because I saw what he was going through with, he then said, was prostate cancer. But later on, I found out that it was prostate cancer and HIV. When he would come back from his treatment, the chemotherapy, he would be so weak he'd be unable to even clean himself from going to the bathroom.
Wow.
And, the thing was that nobody would help him. And I came out here. I came out here on a visit. I saw what he was going through. I ended up. I went home. I went home, and I told my mother. I said, "I'm moving to California, and I'm moving now. I have to do this now." I wasn't home in New Jersey more than maybe a week and a half before I was back on the way out here to help him. So the end result of it is like I said, we have to try to be there for one another. Like I said, it's often a very lonely walk when we have the teenagers that are out there that think that suicide is the end of the line. It gets better. It does get better. It's not going to be an easy road, but the bottom line is that it's not given to the quitters. We've got to keep trying. And it's at the darkest hour that those that want to be closest to death, if you realize the gift of love that God has given you in your life to just be the special call that you've been to be, you shouldn't take that life because, believe me, the gifts that are waiting for you when you accept yourself are far better than the grave that awaits because that's for an eternity and it just stops there. But when you go ahead and just face up sometimes, and that's hard, when you face up to who you are, life does get better.
Yeah, I think so too. And that's a great message for the younger generation. Jay, we got about 25 minutes left in the show here, and there's some news that I absolutely have to get to because I didn't get to it on yesterday's show. You're welcome to hang out.
Out, out in the background, I want to hear the news firsthand for a change.
Okay. Yeah, because there's a few things that I'm. Hey, you saved me a lot of work today. I'm really happy. I didn't have to read all that news. I'm terrible. That's why I love my callers because it saves me a lot of work. I get to do more listening than talking.
Well, when you do speak, we want to hear what you've got to say because usually, big guy, you've got the news for us. So I'm going to let you lead into it.
Okay. Let's see, Kali. Yesterday we were on page 2, right? When we left off. Let's see here. No, we weren't.
No, we were still on page 1, Tom. We worked our way all the way down to the part about the hustler.
Oh, Larry Flint's Hustler magazine, Hustler Porn Studios that got fined for $14,000. That was the last one.
Yeah, that's the one that we stopped at, I guess, would be the word.
Okay, all right. So we'll just go from there, and we'll move on to the next one, which is about Target. About Target losing their lawsuit because they were.
Yay!
Yeah, all right.
You knew that was coming. I had to do it.
Yeah, I knew you've been waiting for me to bring that one up for a couple of days, I think.
Yeah, I sure have.
Yeah, because we all know that Target, did some contributions to some political causes that were very anti-gay. Of course, thankfully, the person that they were supporting did not win. He was running for governor of, I don't remember what state it was. But anyway, so we had these people that it's against, Target doesn't allow any kind of cameras or media or people canvassing inside their stores or whatnot. But when they had canvassers canvassing for petitions in support of same-sex marriage in their parking lots, they thought they had a leg to stand on. Turns out they didn't. They brought a lawsuit against these people and said this parking lot is our property and you cannot be out there canvassing for petition drives, etc., etc., etc. And the Superior Court denied Target's request. End of story. They can't stop them.
And here's the thing, if it had been a straight cause or, some anti-gay thing, they wouldn't have had a problem with it. They would have been all gung-ho, providing all kinds of snacks and everything else, But the whole point that it was a gay positive group that was out there canvassing got them all upset.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, pretty amazing. Pretty amazing, that's for sure.
Well, I know. I know
And we
for
should
one.
mention to Jay, if you would like to follow along with what we're looking at here, you can head on over to gayblogheadlines.com and you can click on the links and read the stories as we talk about them.
Okay.
Yeah,
If that's helpful for you.
yeah, the stories we get them off of Gay Blog Headlines. I actually have a what I call handpicked articles over there, and there's a little selection at the top that says "click here to show handpicked articles," and then I just basically go down the line there.
Okay.
Yeah, crazy, good old Target, good old Target. Let's see now.
You know, why do we shop at places that discriminate against us? Has anyone ever addressed that?
I sure don't. Well, we got a boycott going against them now. You know, they in their last quarter that they reported $1 million less since our boycott started. $1 million,
Oh,
yeah.
well, I'm glad you told me about it because I don't shop with them and I won't be. So,
Yeah, me neither.
I
Best,
don't shop at any place that doesn't support gay folks in any way, let alone canvassing or whatever. But
it's interesting though because they do have a lot of gay employees, and I do believe they offer. I mean, they have a non-discrimination policy regarding their employees, but so it's kind of
uh,
yeah,
let me ask this: do they give health insurance to same-sex partners? Because that's the real test. Put your money where your mouth is.
right, right. I really don't know. I don't remember reading on that. But what? Just since you mentioned that, because I worked for a company when I had a partner, and that company did offer that feature. But do you know that when they do offer that, that since it's not recognized on the federal level, that the amount of money that the company pays for your partner's insurance is counted as income, and you are taxed on that money you did not receive. Money the company pays their part of your partner's insurance is counted as income, and you're taxed on that amount additional to your regular wages that you earn. Let's move on to the next article. Was about NAM, the National Organization for Marriage, aka Maggie Gallagher. There was a gentleman that worked with them when they did this bus tour where they traveled from state to state, with their little anti-gay marriage tour that they had not too long ago. And a gentleman that was pretty instrumental in setting all that up has actually defected from them and is now a supporter of marriage equality. And what's interesting is that he was actually he was savvy on the internet, so he helped them out. He set them up a Facebook page and all this, and he was the administrator of the. So when he defected from, he shut all them out from the webpage and took it over, and they had 290,000 followers that are now on his webpage.
Oh my gosh.
well, that's a good thing. I mean, they need to be slapped in the face every now and then. I mean, they certainly have no problem with slapping the gay community in the face.
I think it's wonderful. I actually think it's wonderful. I think that is just sublime because when you think about the fact of the matter here, you're being fed all this homophobic attitude, and now all of a sudden it's being changed on you to actually cause you to think. I think it's a great thing.
Oh, it's an awesome thing. I mean, because I'm just waiting for NAM to blow up or implode or something because, I mean, they have defied orders from judges to turn over petition signatures and names and stuff like that. They're supposed to be a matter of public information. They've taken it to court. The courts have told them that is public information. You must release that. And they don't. They just defy the court. And since it's not their home state where they're located, it's from their actions in other states. So, they'd actually have to reach across borders and stuff to do something about it. So I'm guessing I haven't heard of anything where they've actually been in any way fined or jailed or for anything for disregarding a court order. So I think that's kind of bizarre.
It's funny. But actually, I've really begun to worry about our justice system because the fact of the matter is that there are powers that be in the justice system that really are not looking out for anybody, and that's what's very scary because it makes me wonder how do people get away with just disregarding a court order?
Yeah. Me,
You
yeah.
or I do it, we'll be in jail.
Oh yeah, yeah, exactly. In a New York minute. You know? Here's a crazy story out of San Francisco. This one really got my fur up. A San Francisco police officer who, off duty, is visiting or frequenting transsexual bars is now being called on the carpet, saying that his conduct is unbecoming or inappropriate for a police officer. The fact that he's going to transgender bars when he's off duty.
And like I said on this topic yesterday, it's the key word here is his off hours. His off hours have nothing to do with the San Francisco Police Department. He should be allowed to do whatever the heck he wants to do on his own free time. I mean, if he wants to burn a Bible on his own free time, he should be allowed to do that. You know, I'm really tired of companies and churches and this, that, and the other thing telling us what we can and cannot do on our own time, in our own homes, in our own bedrooms. You know, how does what we do have any effect on anybody? I mean, you know, it's the whole thing with the marriage thing. I mean, you know, I
Well,
don't know Joe Blow down the street. He doesn't know me. I've never talked to him. I've never even, you know, breathed the same air he breathes. So how is this cop going to a transsexual bar? How is that so unbecoming of a police officer? I mean, hello, there are gay cops out there.
what city was this in again?
Yeah,
San
that's
Francisco,
San Francisco.
What?
the gay mecca of this country.
Yeah, that one's just hard for me to fathom how that could even come out of San Francisco.
Yeah, me
You know,
too.
place to where it's okay to be yourself.
Yeah, the city of Harvey Milk. Come on.
You know, I could understand it if this were coming out of Texas, maybe.
Yeah.
But this is supposed to be California, you know. So I don't get it, especially San Francisco.
Yeah, I think they're going to have a hard time. I think I wouldn't be surprised, if something like this ended up in court. That's for sure. Because I'm with Calais. I don't think that they should be able to regulate. Yeah, he's not breaking any laws. If he was breaking a law, that would be a whole other issue.
He
Well,
has
I
the
mean,
right.
I could see if he was sitting in the bar with 20 lines of cocaine in front of him. Yeah, then I would have a problem with it. But if he's just sitting in the bar having a few cocktails with a few friends, that's going out and having a good time. I mean, are we going to legislate that? I mean, really?
Yeah, well, I mean, in California, he could have a civil union or domestic partnership, whatever they have down there, with a transgender person if he wanted to. That's totally legal down there. So I really don't understand this whole thing.
We've got work to do, guys.
Yeah, a lot of it. And in Wisconsin, a bunch of it too, because a Madison, Wisconsin teenager, 17 years old, for the second time, he's been gay bashed by one of the gentlemen. There was three teens this time who gay bashed him, and one of them had previously gay bashed him in the past. The Madison Police Department has tentatively identified one suspect. The rest have not been located, and there is going to be a hate crime enhancement on these charges.
Well, as it should have been. I mean, this kid shouldn't have gotten out of jail the first time. I mean, you commit a crime, you do the time.
Oh boy, that's a whole topic we could really wind up on. But let's move on.
I've got to say this. It's a shame. I listened to another radio broadcast, but I'm going to borrow his line. When you undervalue, underestimate, and marginalize a community, because this man, because it was a gay bashing, it wasn't taken seriously. So they didn't think that he was going to actually get out. We're just going to slap your hands and tell you, don't do that again. It's okay. Now they want to enhance it. But what happens to the guy that's actually lived through this crime? He still has to live.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing about it is that nobody talks about that. And that's the part that gets me, because they allowed this predator to get out and hurt this guy yet again. So we got to wait for him to die. We got to wait to have another Matthew Shepard. It's about time they put hate crime on it. They should have did it the first time.
Yeah. And up in Washington, D.C., a similar issue, but this time by the actual bus driver. This was craziness. This gentleman and a friend of his, a roommate actually, were out on the town, and they were having a good time, and they got on a bus in the metropolitan Washington, D.C. area at the actual intersection of Florida and Rhode Island. And the bus driver says, "What are you supposed to be?" The 23-year-old gentleman ignored him and walked to the back, but then his friend was just like, "No, this is, the driver continued, "Oh, Halloween is in October," as the guy's walking back to the back of the bus to get a seat, He says he does wear heels and wedges, but he doesn't dress inappropriately. He decided to go ask the driver, "How do I go about filing a complaint against you?" And the driver stopped the bus and said, "Get the hell off my bus." One of the other passengers on the bus told the young gentleman to get the bus number when you get off and then file a complaint, which he's in process of doing. And I actually wrote a letter officially from Queer Public Radio and Gay Talk Radio to let them know that we hope they're going to be doing the right thing over there. So I just think that's craziness that, the public transit system, especially in a place like Washington, D.C., I'm just amazed, that this kind of stuff still goes on.
You can't go to the gas station in Washington, D.C. without getting picked up by one of us.
That's what I thought.
I lived in D.C. The last city that I lived in on the East Coast was D.C. This is outrageous. You're going to sit here and tell me that the bus driver, you're actually driving city transit, and you're going to put two people off because they're trying to file a complaint because you're commenting on their sexuality?
Right. Well, Go ahead.
No, amazing. I just think it's amazing.
Right.
That he is not aware that he's in a gay capital of the United States.
Well, it shouldn't make a difference whether it's a gay capital or a straight capital. You just don't treat people like that, period.
Yeah, and especially on the public transit system that's paid for by taxpayers' dollars,
Yeah, last time I checked, the bus driver does not allow you to be judge and jury.
Yeah.
No.
And I love the term. They actually quote him in the article saying, he said to them, "Get off my bus." And I'm thinking, that bus belongs to the taxpayers, buddy. That's not your bus. Let's see what else we got here. We got about 5 minutes. Liberty University, the Evangelical Liberty University. Oh, I so do not like these people. Their whole cause is to, get as many right-wing lawyers in places of influence in our government, state and federal, as quick as they can. And interesting enough, their enrollment at Liberty University evidently is way up there. And they're getting Pell Grants. In fact, they received $420 million from the federal government in Pell Grants for the students.
Well, once again, we have another university that is showing its ignorance again.
It's not unfamiliar coming out of that area of Virginia. You know how that area got its name, do you not? Lynchburg.
No, I didn't know that.
That could lead into another discussion, Tom, but I'm just saying, if you know the history of how the city got its name, you would not be surprised by anything that comes out of Liberty University.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's a certain amount of psychosis that goes on in a state that allows slavery and tries to abolish it at the same time. You got to look at the history of the Commonwealth in which that place is. When you look into the American history of what it is, you will see that, you have a lot of things that are held over from the past that go on to offer oppression into the future because it's been perfected, so to speak. And I firmly believe, that Liberty University is one of the main places that it's still maintained in this country.
Jeez.
That being said, that's my conspiracy for the night.
Yeah, it's definitely a kind of conspiracy. But let's talk about another religious school, because this was kind of cool. This article came out of the Burlington Free Press. There's a college up there called St. Michael's College, and they're putting on a play Romeo and Juliet. Now, this is a religious college. But it turns out the drama department head, they only had 3 men that even wanted to be part of Romeo and Juliet. But I think he said 15 women showed up. So they've actually reversed the roles, back when these Shakespeare things were done in the good old days when they were originated. It was all men that played even the women parts. And in this particular instance, they have reversed that. All the parts are being played by women, or the vast majority. Romeo and Juliet definitely are being played by 2 women, but one of the women is playing the part of Romeo. And this is kind of interesting, considering it's a religious college. I was blown away by that.
Wow.
I yeah.
That's an interesting scenario.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, something tells me that Shakespeare would roll in his grave, though.
Probably. There was an article I put in the news on there. It's called Meet the Same-Sex Parents Next Door. It's a very lengthy article that I strongly suggest everybody read. There's only really one point I wanted to make from this article. And it tells the story about these 2 lesbians that are parents. They have 2 twins, 3-year-old twin boys. And they were at an airport. They were in Denver airport on the terminal floor waiting for a 5-hour flight delay. And one of the women was not there with the boys. And the straight couple came up. They had twins too. And oh boy, they just, she had her twins and they had their twins, and they were just talking. And then after they got to talking and being friends, and the kids were playing with each other and telling which toys, blah, blah, blah. And then her partner came back because she had went to the restroom or something. And, oh, are you sisters? They were asked by the straight couple. And, of course, she kind of made a big gulp and was worried about what kind of response she was going to get. And she said, no, we're partners. And without even missing a lick, the husband said, did you carry or did you carry, or which one of you carried? And the husband says, I gained 30 pounds in compassion weight when my wife was pregnant. Did you gain weight when she was pregnant? And I mean, the only person that had the fear in that situation was the lesbian. And that's the point she was making in the story, is that she was getting all stressed out over what was going to happen, and forecasting this was going to be a terrible thing, and it was a non-issue. So I think that was an awesome little point that was made in that article. The article is great in itself. It goes into much more.
Yeah, it sounds like a great little article. I hope that everyone takes time to read that and the rest of the articles that are here on Gay Blog Headlines that unfortunately we weren't able to get to. But we do want to say a big, huge mahalo, or as you all would say, thank you to Jay for his wonderful comments and coming on and telling us his story. I would personally like to mention to Jay that maybe you might want to look at backinthegays.com. It's a wonderful place if you would like to share your story with a little bit more wider audience. They have wonderful, wonderful stories on their website, and maybe you might find some inspiration to post your own story.
Well, I will definitely look into that. I had not heard of that website. But I want to thank you guys for sharing the airtime with me, and it's been a Pickle Club pleasure to be with you guys. And
well, thank you.
Just to share a little bit of community, and to be able to just camaraderie, because I mean, like I said, you guys have made a difference in my life, and I hope that you will continue to be there for a long time to come. You've definitely gained a friend here, and I will be in touch again, I promise.
Oh, great. You're welcome anytime. Anytime. It was a pleasure speaking with you, and I thank you. Thank you so much.
I'm
Uh,
going to do another favor too, Tom, because I'm going to try. I used to be the eyes and the ears for another friend of mine that was on the radio about gay issues. So now that we've established contact, if I see news stories that'll be, something that I think that you'll be interested in, I'll be sure to shoot them by you.
awesome. Thank you. Always appreciate that.
Well, you
Definitely.
guys have a great evening. Thank you for a great show, and I'm going to sign off now so you guys can close out.
Thanks a lot, Jay, and we look forward to speaking with you again, hopefully soon. You take care of yourself.
All right, you too.
Aloha.
Aloha.
Oh, Collie, thank you, thank you, thank you. That was such awesomeness. I love talking with guests. You know, it's always neat to hear about other people's take on things.
Well, I think you're correct on that, and it's good that we can show. Oh, hello.
Yes.
Oh, I just seen your screen move. I thought maybe I lost you. Anyway, I just want to finish up by saying that it's good that we are able to show uh, that there are different types of gay people out there, and from all different walks of life. And I'm so glad that he was brave enough to actually come on the radio and give his story. I hope that he visits Robin Cisco's website, backinthegaze.com, and posts his story, as well as all the rest of you listeners out there. I'm sure they would be more than happy to post your stories as well.
Yes. They're great guys. Robin Cisco, join us on the roundtable shows, which will be next Saturday. We just got to do what we got to do. We got to put it out there for everybody because that's what we're all about here. We're all about education, information, enlightenment. We just put it out there, and because, like Jay has confirmed, and as I already knew, we make a difference, and we do so as a community. As Jay also stated, it's not about me, it's not about Kale, it's not about Wakeli, it's not about Rob, it's not about Cisco, it's about us. It's about community. It's about all of us. Even Harvey Milk used to always say that. It wasn't about him. It was about the community. We all need to remember that. And as a larger community, not just our community, the LGBT community, but the human community. Because as I always say at the end of every show, we are all one human family. And I think we all need to learn to love one another, because if we just did that, everything would be all better. That's all it takes, people, is love. Just 4 little letters. Kali, we got to. I'll throw in your website one more time here before we close out and play the little closing clip.
Alrighty. Well, I just want to say thank you first of all for having both Jay and myself on today. And if you folks out there would like to visit our website, you can do so at wekeli-hawaii.com.
Yep. WEKELI Hawaii.com. Check them out. They got some really cool jewelry. All the best to you and yours. We'll see you next on Wednesday. You can visit queerpublicradio.com. There's a contact page there. If you want to contact me, you got anything you want to say or any questions you want to ask, you're more than welcome. I will respond as soon as possible. We also have our broadcast schedule available there. It tells you when our shows are. We're doing 3 live shows a week now. We do the Wednesday show, we do a Saturday show, and a Sunday show. This new show, first time today, our premiere show. A little bit long. That's okay. It's a premiere show. It can get away with that. We're not going to slap its little pee-pee and tell it no. So, all the best to everybody. Please, please, please remember, people, we're all one human family. Let's just try to love one another, because that's all it takes. That really is. I know that sounds all superficial and all that, but if you really stop and think about it, it's all about love. You need to get rid of the hate, get rid of the attacking. Just love everybody. We'll see y'all next time. Wait a minute. I'm not ready. Where's my closing clip? Did you take my closing clip away, Collie?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Okay, there it is. See you later. Bye.
I love you, and you, and you. Oh, and you too. And don't forget him. I love her, and him, and her, and him, and him, and her. I love you all.
Adios. Have a nice trip. Bon voyage. Farewell to thee.
That's all, folks.
We'll leave the light on for you.